Dan, you can roll.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the September 16th DeForest Park meeting. We generally start our meetings with a call to order and the flag salute. So we will be doing that in just a second, and there we go.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States
of America
and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty
and justice
for all.
Okay, and now what we're viewing at this point is the Long Beach Police from the North Division, the stats. And when you get an opportunity, you can take a look at that. Unfortunately, we don't have an officer tonight, but I did want to remind you that on the 23rd, we will be having a Zoom meeting with the commander, and you can contact Erica Marino, and she will be able to get you hooked up with the Zoom meeting. Okay, do we have anybody from the 9th Council District? No new business, no old business? Well, this is going to be a short meeting at this rate.
I don't see anyone from District 8 or 9. I do see Mike Gibson's office. Is that Mike Gibson's office is here? Maybe they would want to give us an update in place since we don't have our local district. We can get our
yeah, we
district.
Sure can.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, yeah, my name is Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Good to meet all of you. I recently joined the team, just trying to, of course, get to know the community a bit more. I could provide some updates regarding the bills. More than happy to do that. I could also prepare it for y'all if you would like as well. But, you know, just fly on the wall right here, absorbing as much as I can, being a resource. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask away.
Okay, well, why don't you update us on some of the bills, especially AB, SB 8 and 9, or 9 and 10, I'm sorry, SB 9 and 10.
SB 9 and 10.
Those passed, and so we want to know how it's going to affect our area. That would be a good topic.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I can do is I can get our legislative team to prepare kind of a lowdown of how exactly it would affect us. Yeah, absolutely. Would love to do that. As it is right now, I do have Mr. Gibson fortunately passed 5 bills during this last session. I can read them off to you as well as AB 296, pawnbroker transfer of vested property, the elimination of cost sharing for colonoscopies. Public health is a very big issue for Mr. Gibson. The Angelo Quinto Act of 2021, I'm sure you might have read about it, regarding asphyxiation and different practices when for the police force. AB 651, this one's more centralized to Compton, and well, it was inspired through Compton, but it essentially creates a subcommittee that allows the legislator to take care and maintain of cemeteries that are going to be sold. That way, you know, the people that are the individuals that are buried there, you know, aren't necessarily just removed or displaced. And finally, AB 958, it effectively bans police gangs. I could also have a good, more thorough rundown for everybody next meeting. Just let me know.
Okay, that sounds great. Excellent.
My pleasure.
And districts 8 and 9 are here.
Okay, let's start with District 8.
I will defer my report
Hi,
since the council member is speaking today.
Okay.
So Matt, you can go ahead and do District 9 for Rex.
Perfect. Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it. What's going on, everybody? Matthew Hamlet, Chief of Staff to Vice Mayor Richardson. Really, because I know that the councilman is going to be on here shortly, I really want to update or highlight 2 really big events that are coming specifically for DeForest Park. I mean, the first is acknowledging that a week from this coming Saturday, we are going to be recognizing Dan Pressburg and the opening of the Pressburg Parkway officially. So for those of you who didn't know, we were able to officially approve that a few months ago through the city council. Dan and I had been coordinating, trying to find the best time where we'd have, both the sign ready and be able to do it right. So that time is finally coming. So that is this Saturday, or I apologize, not this Saturday, a week from Saturday. So that's the 25th, and that's going to be at 2 p.m. So if you haven't already received an invitation from the Pressburgs, we're obviously really excited to be hosting folks. The other thing I really want to highlight for folks, specifically for DeForest, is that on Tuesday, September 28th, we are going to be having the groundbreaking of the Environmental Education Center over at DeForest Park. This is another thing that has been envisioned in the DeForest Park master plan, and really focusing on, okay, with all these investments coming into the LA River, how do we make sure that the park has as many resources as possible, not only for upkeep, but to make sure that we have programming for families, and really make it, rather refine it as a community hub. So the breaking ground of the Environmental Education and Stewardship Center is really the first step. That's really going to be the home of both the Conservation Corps, who will be returning to North Long Beach, and the campfire program as well, which will really, I think, really solidify the space as really one of the cornerstones in the Parks and Rec system in the city of Long Beach. So we're really, really excited about that. I know that there are probably some council and budgetary updates that Councilmember Austin will be updating everyone on. So I'll defer city council business to him, but I wanted to highlight those two events once again. September 25th, which is a week from this Saturday, and then Tuesday, September 28th, we'll be doing the groundbreaking at 4 p.m. And then we'll actually be doing a panel with environmental leaders from across the region to really talk about not only this project, but conservation issues across the uptown community at 5:30. So we encourage everybody to stay for the full event, and I will be sure to share both of those events, which are in our newsletter as well.
Okay, question for you, Matt.
What's going on, Dan?
Veterans Day Parade.
Veterans Day Parade. So we're working on it, Dan. We actually just had a conversation with, and why am I skipping out on his name? The current president of the planning committee.
Okay.
With everything going on with COVID, they've actually informed us that, they want to plan more of a kind of like that Vets Fest thing that I know that has been kind of in partnership with the parades, just because of kind of the rules and regulations around it. So we actually just got the thumbs up from the city side because money is usually earmarked specifically for parades, that we can use that for the event. So we're actually having a planning meeting with some of the initial folks this week, and really hoping to roll out kind of a more concrete plan so the community can know what to expect in the next coming months, ideally before the end of the month.
Okay, so I have one other thing. Would you be in support of, or you need to ask the council member, of broadcasting a couple of during the Veterans Day Parade week, previous parades?
Yeah, I think that obviously so I haven't talked to the vice mayor about it yet, but I think that's something, that's definitely interesting. I think LBTV has been at most of the parades, Dan, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Charter Cable did, and I've got several of them myself. So
Gotcha.
Where we broadcasted, so we could be able to do that. I know I won't have Jonathan driving the cart around like he used to for 15 years, but I'm sure I do have some pictures of Jonathan doing that, actually, where he was going crazy on Veterans Day Parade Day. So he's been a big part of it for quite a while. So and so have you. So since you got here, so it sounds like a pretty good deal. And I will see what I can do to make sure that we can get the arrangements. And if LBTV has it up, we can start putting it up on everything North Long Beach News, etc.
Gotcha. No, that sounds like a plan, Dan. Looking forward to seeing if we can make something like that happen.
Okay. We got a couple months to do it, so sounds good.
Yep.
So any other questions for Matt from anyone? Oh, you're off the hook tonight.
Awesome.
So,
Well, thanks, Dan. And like I said, really, really excited to celebrate you a week from Saturday.
thank you. Appreciate it. Is Georgia still around? I don't see her.
She is here. She's on mute.
I'm here. I'm here. Sorry.
Okay. Hi, Georgia.
Hi, how are you doing?
Can we get an update from you? A short update?
You're on mute.
Sorry.
Uh-oh. There you go.
So I want to let Stephanie maybe do more of that, but I also want to second the invitation to everybody to come to the groundbreaking on Tuesday, the 28th for the Conservation Corps building. We're all excited about being part of this big project. And so thanks, Matt, for bringing it up. And we're really, really glad to be there. And Stephanie is doing our after school program. And Stephanie, do you want to add anything?
Yep. Hi guys. Good evening. Just letting you guys know the program, the DeForest After School program, is up and running. We have a couple of kids in the program. We're looking for more. I've been putting the word out there, but yeah, staying hopeful.
We're a little bit concerned with the COVID stuff going on right now and the construction starting. We will really rely on everybody to let everybody know the construction will be separate from our entrance. We will walk around the building. We've got a plan for all of that. So please don't let people worry about this. This project overall is going to benefit the park so much. And if it means we're a little bit slower on getting the after school program launched this fall, then so be it. But it's real exciting and we're real glad to be there. So yes, any help that anybody can give us in spreading the word, we appreciate it. And Ryan, thanks about putting that up on the webpage again. We always appreciate that. That's us for right now.
Okay, any other questions for Georgia? All right. Thank you, Georgia.
You're welcome.
Moving right along. Jonathan, are you ready? Are we going or when is the council member coming too?
Councilmember
He's on.
Austin is here.
Oh, okay. I don't see his name. So, okay. Let's turn the floor over to Councilman Austin. He's been around for, I'd say a couple months at least. No, he's been around for a long time doing a good job. So I like your sign. It almost resembles mine. Let's start with what's going on in the 8th District. Great Jazz Festival, by the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm glad you had one of Holly's classmates as your headliner, David Benoit. So that was, so somebody we know. But anyway, lead on. The floor is yours. It's as long as you want or as short as you want.
Thank you. Well, I won't hopefully indulge you too much, but thank you all for the invitation. Much respect to the DeForest Park Neighborhood Association. You all are an engaged, empowered group who actually gets things done in North Long Beach area. And so I salute all of the work, the involvement, engagement from everybody involved here. Then we have quite a bit going on in the Great 8th District. And I'll just start out by saying that, I've been on the city council for the last 9 years, and it has been our mission, my mission as a council member of my office, to make our community the most vibrant, inclusive, and livable community that it can possibly be. And we pride ourselves that it is just that. Obviously, there's always work to do, and we have much work to do. There are frustrations that go on with governance and in our community with things that are beyond our control oftentimes, but we we do our best to bend with the curves and deal with those situations as they arise. Few big announcements, and I wasn't privileged to hear Matt. I got on a little bit late, so if I'm repeating anything, please forgive me. But we found out just a few days ago, I want to say a couple of weeks ago, after doing some questioning, because we'd seen the CIP budget of 2 years ago that South Street was going to be done, and so we were able to confirm with Public Works that South Street has been the design has been complete, and the work should be beginning within the next couple of months. And Public Works is working on finalizing a construction schedule with the contractor. I want to just say that is a major accomplishment. 8th District working with the 9th District, understanding that the South Street corridor going east-west is an important corridor for North Long Beach, as well as Market Street. We have really worked to kind of complete infrastructure work on these major corridors. Market Street is going to be a complete streets project. Public Works is finalizing that design and working with some property owners to get some easements in the areas to help with the widening. Project will then go out to bid, with construction expected to start early next year. This is something that I got to tell you that I've worked on my entire time in office. For 8 years, we've been working to get the funding, cobble that funding together, and get this Market Street project off the ground, and we're very, very close. This project is worth more than $11 million in investment in North Long Beach, and will only include, not only will it include repaving the street, but it also include sidewalk widening, removal of ADA obstacles, bulb outs at intersections, and of course, bike lanes. So it's going to be exciting work happening. There's going to be a transformation these are transformational times for North Long Beach. I know Artesia Boulevard, I know that is also being discussed and recently was announced as well. So Northtown is finally getting the serious investment that it really deserves, and I'm proud to be able to help deliver on those projects. We've got housing coming. You all know, I know you've been involved with the BEAT and with the lab projects going on at South Street and Atlantic. There's 84 new townhomes being built across the street from the Michelle Obama Library. And also there'll be housing on Lime behind Lyman South as well. I think they're looking at 16 to 18 units on total. We're looking at 100 new units in North Long Beach at the South and Atlantic intersection, which will bring the vibrance that I'm talking about to the community, the inclusion that we're talking about, and increased livability. That's going to be very, very important. The lab project was, I gotta say, very, very frustrating. Has been frustrating for the last several years. As we've gone through iterations and ups and downs with the market, the economy. COVID did not do us any favors. We've had some setbacks with other issues, but retail is not what it was, and the interest is not as high as we'd like it to be. And so this is one of these areas where my office, me personally, I feel like I should almost be on payroll with the lab, because I am weekly, daily talking to restaurants and other businesses, trying to draw and attract opportunities into that project. I can tell you that we are very close to inking an agreement with Barbara Morrison to create a jazz museum, kind of start things off with the lab, the BEAT project. It is, the ideal is to have an artsy feel, a feel where people can come and feel a music vibe, a jazz vibe, an arts vibe. And so Barbara Morrison is very, very close to inking an agreement with Shaheen Sadeghi and the lab. I'm looking very forward to that, and hopefully we can make that announcement more official soon. There's also some properties being developed along the Long Beach Boulevard corridor, and we expect to break ground on those in the next few weeks. That is the City Ventures project. That development is going to be known as Edgewood Point, and they'll be breaking ground at the 5100 block and the 4800 block of Long Beach Boulevard. And when completed, there'll be a total of 56 new for sale townhomes on 2 lots that are solar powered and zero net energy efficiency. So that's going to be great news for North Long Beach. These are projects that also have been in the works, former redevelopment projects or parcels that have been in the works for a few years now, working its way through. And so when we talk about building housing in Long Beach, please understand it's not an overnight thing. It's not something that we can just look at a parcel or have a vision and say that, you know, this should go up. Generally, when you see a housing development be developed, it is several years in the making, going through the purchase and entitlement process. So we're looking very much forward to that. Murals, and I've heard a lot of people talk to me and got a lot of feedback from individuals about, you know, some of the art in our community. I've been very supportive of putting public art up. I think it really does a lot to add character and give a great vibe and make people really proud of where they live. We've had a couple of powwow art exhibits under the railroad tracks where those areas traditionally have been graffitied over and painted over. And so for some time, we had a couple of beautiful murals done 1 year apart. One on Del Amo, the other one on Atlantic, right underneath the railroad tracks. Those murals have been completely destroyed, right? We're now working with the Arts Council and the city Public Works Department to look at restoring, repairing those murals or redoing those murals altogether. But I got to tell you, I want to hear from the community in terms of your feedback on that, in terms of, you know, resources, because that becomes a challenge if we do this again and these murals are not respected and graffitied over. It becomes an issue of public resources that we have to ask and call a question about whether or not we need to continue doing so. And so hopefully we'll have some announcements very soon about what's going to happen with those murals. We did announce today in our newsletter the mural on Market in Atlantic on the Frontier building has been repaired. It looks wonderful. And let's just hope that we can, those in the community can maintain some respect for the work that we are doing as a community to beautify and add character throughout. You know, I've actually held back on a couple of mural projects for the very reason that, you know, these other murals have been graffitied over most recently. And so we're watching this process very closely, and we'll continue to do so. Hopefully we'll have some announcements very soon. The biggest issue I think facing the city right now is potentially, and it's a political issue, it's called redistricting. And I know you all are engaged in that process, paying attention to it. We don't know what the future will hold in terms of lines, district lines. There is very little, if any, influence. I don't think we have any influence in terms of elected officials, in terms of that, what those lines will look like. And in some respects, that's refreshing, because if you were involved in the redistricting process 10 years ago, you knew it was in some communities, it was really a divisive process that left a lot of people with very unsavory taste in their mouths about the elected officials and the entire process. We brought forth the citizens redistricting process as an alternative to cut out the political shenanigans or the politicians particularly. So we're not drawing lines in our self-interest. We opened it up and said, this is going to be something that's going to be independent of us. The voters approved it overwhelmingly, and we have that process now. And so I respect the process. I respect that each and every one of those commissioners are individuals who don't necessarily have a political agenda. They are fresh. They come in with clear eyes, with no real agendas, and they're going to draw lines based on the facts, we hope. And so looking forward to that process, and where the lines end up we will see. But if I'm the 8th district, in January, when this process is all done, or if I'm the 1st district, whatever it is, we're going to continue to provide the level of service that the residents deserve, and work with whomever community groups we have within our district boundaries. And so that said, I think the other big issue facing us, and it's competing with your meeting right now, is the Citizens Police Complaint Commission. That was my entree into civic service or public service here in the city. Served on that commission from 2004 to 2007, I believe. 4 years. And it was quite an experience for me. Since I served on this commission, I mean, there's been a lot of changes and calls for changes in the community. I certainly expect that item will be before you as voters in the next election to do some reforms. And so if you can get engaged in that process, hear what's going on, understand how to frame that commission to have a more civilian oversight, civilian oversight that people can be confident with, it would be appreciated. And so I would encourage you to get involved with that. I can tell you off the top, I mean, if there's any change that should be made on the Citizen Police Complaint Commission, it should be in its title, because I think the word citizen does not necessarily, it's not inclusive of everybody, right? And that's something that we need to be mindful of in all types of governance at every level. We talk about equity, we talk about inclusion. We need to think about how we are framing our commissions and the services that we provide as a city. And so that is an area that I'm going to recommend. Like, number one, let's just change the name of this commission. There's obviously some procedural and operational, but also some elements of that commission that could be changed to, like I said, provide residents with a little bit more confidence in the work that the commissioners and that commission actually does. And so with that, I would love to hear from you. I like to look and listen twice as much as I speak. And so this is an opportunity for me to talk to you, but also to hear from you as well. And so I'll take any questions that you may have.
Al Austin, Reese Williams.
Hello there.
What are the renderings or the diagrams or pictures of South Street going to look like from Atlantic Avenue to DeForest?
I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. I have not seen those quite yet.
When are we going to see them?
When they're made available, we'll make sure that we get them to you. I know I have staff on here. I think the 9th district staff is on as well. Once that information is made public, and I want to just say engagement. We're going to make sure that you are fully aware of the plans, not only on South Street, but I'm sure you're going to know about Artesia, and then there's full renderings of everything that is going to be happening on Market already available on the Public Works website.
Thank you.
Right. Appreciate the question.
Well, any other questions?
Yeah, I have my hand up. This is Lori. There's been a lot of discussion tonight and today about some serious mess and dumping and weeds and lots that aren't being kept up, where the new housing projects are going to be at 4800 and 5100 Long Beach Boulevard. I mean, really, City Ventures should be taking care of the property. Otherwise, it should be reported to code enforcement. People have said they've been calling. They've called your office and there hasn't been any response. So, I mean, kind of like the graffiti, usually with the graffiti, the way you take care of that is immediately. And if you don't, it just multiplies and gets worse and worse and worse, and that's exactly what's happened. So hopefully, I'm not sure how we take care of the problem with City Ventures and the property that surrounds that area. Do you have any suggestions, or is that something you can take care of?
So I thought there was I appreciate your comment, and I think City Ventures does a pretty good job of taking care of the property when informed about messes. The challenge that we have is, and I think we need to just be very honest with ourselves. I mean, I drove down Atlantic last night and every trash can was turned over, right? Every trash can was like literally in the middle of the street or laid over in the #1 lane. This happens on Long Beach Boulevard quite frequently. There's dumping. There are people who do not care about our city like they should, and that's unfortunate. And it is a constant. We are now in a constant state of perpetual cleanups, right? And we can't be everywhere at all the time. I can tell you that I've been very, very deliberate about trying to be creative to assist our clean teams, and which we've actually quadrupled in the last 2 years. But we put a lot of emphasis in cleaning up. But unfortunately, there are individuals out there that are creating a mess, and we can't be Johnny on the spot all the time. When they are brought to my office's attention, we report these issues. We also have access to other avenues where we have volunteer organizations that are now out there every day doing cleanups, not only in the 8th district, but in the northern part and western area of our city. Care Closet, I think it's a very innovative group of led by Duke Givens and his board. We actually have individuals who are experiencing homelessness doing the cleanups. I think that we need to see more of that. We need to support efforts like that. And so I'm giving a plug to Care Closet because that is that is an area where we all can get involved in. I did see an email a day or so ago, maybe this morning, somebody tagged me. I mean, there's a new ways to engage your elected officials. Not everybody calls the office. They tag, they go to Facebook, they go to Instagram. There's all kinds of avenues. Not all of them are effective because we're not always checking every avenue in terms of complaints. But should that happen, and Lori, you know as well as anyone that empowerment, neighborhood empowerment, the DeForest Neighborhood Group is an empowered organization, and oftentimes if I see litter on my street, I'm cleaning it up. I'm getting it out of the way. I'm gonna do it if I can, and if it's within the capacity to do so. If it's something oversized, a large item, it's something excessive, then obviously I'm gonna call in resources and understand that it's not going to be necessarily cleaned up within an hour or 2 hours. It could take 24 hours or even 48 hours. And so I would ask for your patience in that regard, and understand that these are tough times, and your city, we're committing resources like never before to cleaning up our city. It is an ongoing challenge, and I recognize that, along with the graffiti as well. I do think, you paint out graffiti right away, but there's some sensitivities about painting out graffiti over public art that you've invested in. So, we're trying to be delicate and sensitive about, okay, how do we paint this out? Can we repair these murals? Is it possible to do so? And if not, what's the plan? And we're working on those plans to get those things cleaned up as soon as possible.
There's a question in the chat. Why are Citizen Police Complaint Commission listening sessions happening in East Long Beach rather than the areas that usually suffer the most from police brutality?
I don't know that I think that's an assumption, but I don't know why they chose to host the meeting in East Long Beach. I do know that we've hired some outside consultants to help steer the process. Perhaps there will be more than one meeting, and I expect that to be the case. But tonight, the meeting happens to be, And I don't know if I consider Browning High School East Long Beach. It's like right on Redondo. So it's on the line. Typically, the geography of the city is west of Redondo, east of Redondo. And Browning High School it's almost like Signal Hill on Redondo in Hathaway.
So do
But
we
I'm
have
glad
any
we're
other
having a listening
questions?
session.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do we have any other questions?
Yes, I have a question in regards to the vandalism on the artwork on the walls. Has anyone looked into using paint graffiti, the graffiti paint, where you can wash it off, power wash it off, versus just the regular paints that they're constantly using? I know it's more costly, but in the end, it's more economical because you won't be required to continuously repaint. It could be power washed off, which will be cost effective.
Darlene, that is an excellent suggestion. And yes, we are looking at that. Again, our conversations with the Arts Council, with Powwow, we can't continue to do the same thing and get the same results. And so that is something that definitely is being considered for any new art projects, in particularly mural projects in North Long Beach or throughout the city.
There's another question here in the chat, but I think it applies to District 9. Can we have the city assigned cleanup crew exiting Atlantic Boulevard from the 91 freeway and also the underpass? I think that's you, Matt, since that's District 9. Cool.
I'm sorry, Ryan, you were asking about the underpass?
There's a chat question. Can we have the city assigned cleanup crew clean up the area exiting Atlantic Boulevard from the 91 freeway and also the underpass of the Atlantic and 91? But that's a District 9.
Yeah, that's a District 9 issue. So funny enough, we actually had a neighborhood association meeting with the Hamilton neighborhood, and that came up. So that request was actually submitted today to get a clean team over there. So
Tag DeForest on with it, please.
sounds good.
Any other questions?
Thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you. That was short and sweet and to the point.
Appreciate it.
No, we appreciate you. Thank you. Right now, the DeForest Association is a 501c3. We allow time at the end of every one of our meetings for non-agenda items. Each speaker receives about 3 minutes. Sometimes it's a little more. You can speak, just raise your hand or type it in, and we will put you up for your 3 minutes, and you can say what you would like. At the conclusion of this, we will ask for the meeting to be adjourned, or if there's no one that's going to be speaking, we will adjourn the meeting shortly. Because I know everybody's got a family that they need to go to, and this is a weeknight. So do we have anyone that wishes to speak to the group? Okay. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Hold on one second. Hold on. It looks like we got another question. It sounds like it's for the council member in the 8th district. So Ryan, did you see that? I don't have it on my screen.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm reading it. So there's a question, Councilmember Austin. The other day, I asked a police officer for more patrols, especially.
A lady needs help.
I'll be there in a minute.
She needs a.
I'll be there in a minute. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
The other day, I asked a police officer for more patrols, especially in our local park. He stated, ask the city to allow more overtime. The city is now spending 70 to 80 for PD and FD and only 20% for everything else. What do you say to this?
Not, so the city is spending 70 to 80 for PD and FD? I'm not clear on the question. Can you repeat that?
It's for overtime.
Well, we've look, we don't have unlimited resources in the city. And we have to be as creative and innovative as we can to provide the services and expectations that our residents are expected to happen. We, in terms of police patrols in the park, you know, just about every neighborhood would like to see more patrols in the neighborhood. Every business district wants to see more patrols in the business district. And we love to have more patrols in the park. The fact of the matter is our police department is oftentimes put it in a responsive mode. Our new commander, I think, has been very, very creative, innovative with the neighborhood walks program, where they're actually getting out of the cars and walking, engaging community, engaging children, engaging neighborhoods, and seeing neighborhoods and parks at a different level than they would if they were necessarily in the car. And that program in itself is yielding tremendous benefits toward improving safety. Actually, since they've started those neighborhood walks programs, the safety has actually improved. Now, I'll just say we have our challenges still, and we have to call it what it is. Shootings, gun violence is guns, ghost guns throughout the city remain a challenge and a problem. And we want to make sure that our police resources are put in those areas that cause the most harm right now. And I'll just give you one that's just really on my heart right now, and one that I'm actually losing sleep over. Last Friday there was a shooting in my district on Orange and Market, right, at a fruit stand, where a father and a 9-year-old son were both gunned down. Now, the details of that shooting were not public. I mean, the news covered a little bit of it. You heard a little bit about it, streaming. But the fact of the matter is, this young kid was shot, multiple times. Multiple times. He's on life support at Long Beach Memorial. The father was shot multiple times. He's on life support at Long Beach Memorial. And those stories, are obviously not something that we're proud of, that actually happens, that actually happened in our community. But we have to bring to your attention that there are challenges still in Long Beach that need to be addressed and require police attention. This shooting is one that is bizarre. There's no shooting is acceptable, and we should not get to a point where we are desensitized to any level of shooting in our or gun violence in our city. But when it comes to patrol versus being proactive or investigating a crime like that, I would just ask that you understand that the PD is going to go after those priority, more violent issues that are challenging our communities. It's a tough subject. There's no easy answer, but I want to make sure that we're being leveling with you and having an honest conversation about crime in our city. And in terms of overtime, I know that we budget what we budget, and then we budget, like, if you were to ask us in 2020, the FY21 budget, which basically covered most of the year 2020. If you were to look at police, what we budgeted for PD in FY20 and what we actually spent in FY21 and what we actually spent, we far exceeded what we budgeted. At the end of the day, running a city, yes, you budget and you forecast that some resources are going to go in this direction and this is what it is. But at the end of the day, nobody foresaw, the events of 2020 and all of the resources that would have to be expended to keep our city safe. And so if there is a need for police overtime and policing in our city, we're going to make that happen. We're going to make it happen. But just routine park, we can put the request in, and if there's downtime for PD, I'm sure that that's something that they can work in. But it's most of the time they're responding to calls and crisis throughout the city. I just want to make sure that that's clear.
I have a question. This is Lori. You know, I had read some information about cities that are having financial problems, that one of the things that they do is build excessive amounts of housing to try to offset whatever funding that they're not able to put together to fund the city. So besides adding more housing than would be helpful or serve the neighborhoods and the residents, mainly, I mean, what we're doing is we're supporting developers and jobs that developers provide, rather than looking at the quality of our neighborhoods and trying to support the quality of our neighborhood. So the point is what is the city doing to try to increase our funding and our revenues so that we don't have to build thousands and thousands and thousands of units just for the purpose of generating property taxes? I mean, what is the strategy?
So Lori, I think that's an interesting question, and I'm not sure I necessarily agree with the fact that building houses or housing, rental housing, is going to necessarily generate a lot of resources for the city. I do think that we have to take a balanced approach. We had a pretty robust conversation just the other night regarding some state legislation, SB 9, SB 10, on the city council just the other night. And we talked about our enhanced density bonus process that we're looking at as well, which would actually increase density along transit corridors consistent with our general plan and housing element. I think, again, it needs to be a balanced approach. We recently, I want to say within this council, in the last 4 or 5 years, we created an economic development department. That economic development department is charged with bringing new sales tax revenue and economic development and jobs into the city. That's the balance we need to have. Creating retail, creating a job base, but at the same time, we do have to increase our housing stock in the city to meet the demand that we actually have. Affordability is a challenge. And I want to just say, we have, I think, done a pretty good job. We've spent and invested, I can't quantify it, but quite a bit of city resources into planning, and I want to say responsibly planning new housing in our city. Planning our development, our corridors and transit corridors, and engaging our residents. We've engaged. There's been, I know, Lori, you sat through probably more meetings that you can count related to in terms of planning and new housing in North Long Beach, the up plan. All of these efforts are important for us as a city to be able to frame the future of Long Beach. And then there's actions happening in Sacramento that says, you know what, we know best, and we're overriding that, and we're going to give you by right housing in areas not only along your transit corridors, but also in your residential neighborhoods. We adopted an ADU ordinance about 3 years ago, and within that period of time, I think we've been able to build. I would say residents have built over 850 new ADUs in the city. Now, the question now asked, we need to ask ourselves, how are those ADUs being utilized? Are they going toward individuals to provide affordable housing. It would be really nice to kind of study, where that is and the progress we're making on legislation and tools that we already have to build new housing and make housing more affordable in the city. But again, I'll just tell you, I took a controversial stand. The city council is completely split in terms of zoning, future zoning, and legislation coming out of Sacramento. But these are conversations that we're going to be having for months and years to come. We know our city will change, the landscape, the character can change, will change as we build new housing. I just think we need to do so responsibly. I don't necessarily put the correlation that we're building housing to get necessarily tax dollars. We're building housing to provide more affordable housing and address the need that we know that is coming because the demand is high.
Thank you.
Okay. Ryan, I think we had another question about SB2. I'm not sure, I didn't get it, but it popped up.
Oh, it just asked the status, and I think Jonathan answered it. It's on the governor's desk for signature.
Okay, great. Okay, any other questions?
Yes.
Darlene?
My question is, how do you see the 9th and the 8th district working more together than being split? As a DeForest Park Neighborhood Association, we typically reach out across the 8th on the regular. Whatever we do, we include them. We canvass them. We reach them by next door. We reach them by Facebook. We reach them by multiple social media platforms. What can you tell us that you would do to make our 2 districts more cohesive, since we are connected at the hip?
Well, you're connected as a neighborhood, and I think that's.
No, we're a city. We're all one city. I understand what you're saying.
Okay, well, you didn't let me answer the question.
Okay, go ahead.
You're a neighborhood group organization, and your lines are defined by your neighborhood. You define the lines of your neighborhood organization. District lines are political lines that are established through a redistricting process. And I can tell you that the 9th District Council member and myself, we work together on the issues that matter, the big issues. There's not a whole lot of air between us when it comes to economic development. And if you really know the history, I would just say that you would know that this is most of what you see happening today, most of what you've seen happening over the last 10, 12 years in North Long Beach, the 8th District and 9th District, has been a plan, right? That I was very much a part of in terms of leading many, many years ago. And so I'm proud of the work that's happening in both districts. I think we're making progress. This is part of a vision that we put in place many years ago, and we're making the progress that we need to make. Again, not as fast as we'd like. I'd love to have the lab project be further along and have more vibrance in that particular area of our city. But we're getting there. We're working on it, and we're deliberate, working together on strategies to make that happen. And so I would just say that I don't necessarily agree that there is a divide. The divide is something that is more of a fallacy and a myth.
Yeah, and then Councilmember, if I can add on that, I think that's a great point to bring up, just because of how mutually everybody's tied together. And I think a very tangible thing that Councilman just brought up is the lab project, right? The lab project is kind of split on South Street, and a lot of the retail is in Council District 8. And really one of the linchpins of the project, the South Street corner across from the Michelle Obama Library is in the 9th District. And I can tell you over the last 3 weeks, Jonathan and I go on weekly calls, and I know that both council member and the vice mayor talk to the developer, sometimes on a daily basis about how we can make sure that this project works. And I know that Councilmember Austin is, supportive of what's going on with the housing piece, and we're obviously supportive of the retail. So I think that's just one example of, South Street is like he said, an arbitrary line, that it was done by, the districts, but ultimately we're one North Long Beach community, and Jonathan and I talk a bunch about it, and I know that the council member and the vice mayor do as well.
Yeah, I want you to go back and to the council meeting when Councilmember Neal was then the council member, and the Michelle Obama Library was in its final phase. And they were looking for an additional, I think we needed an additional $4 million to finish that project. I don't know if I think Dan, you were at that meeting. At that meeting, it was a 5-4 vote to even get the funding for the Michelle Obama Library complete. It was and it was me standing up and fighting, because I knew that was important to our community to get that library complete, right? I had to hold the floor and Councilmember Neal I think he had stepped away and had a phone call, or was it the restroom? He had to come back. And at that night, it was a 5-4 vote. And again, I would challenge you to go see who those votes were.
No, I know who they were. I wasn't there.
Okay,
Been around a long time.
Okay, and as well as I.
Yes.
And so I want to just say it was a joint effort. It's been a joint effort for every project in each district. We've worked together to move the bar and move the line, because the goal when I got elected, I know the goal when Steve Neal got elected, the goal when Rex Richardson got elected was to make North Long Beach more relevant in the city, right? To give us a relevant voice, to make our neighborhoods count. And I think we're doing that.
Okay, that's what I want to hear.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And with that, we'll take one more question, and then we're going to close out the meeting. Any other questions? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, I'll
Williams, I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Reed.
Always
And
good
with
seeing
that,
everybody
we're
first.
closing out the meeting.